So basically, I just wanted to delve in a little bit deeper into the project that you're working on and kind of like your story behind what you're doing now and what brought you to where you are.
Sure. So I am a software developer. I am working on an app at the moment. It's kind of like a smart memory bank. It's a way to kind of keep track of any information that is important to you that you collect kind of like during your daily lives. It could be like screenshots, YouTube videos, documents, photos, whatever you want to remember at some point. You
Hmm.
just put it in there. And then it has a private and offline AI assistant built inside of it that kind of allows you to retrieve anything you put in there super easily.
Okay. And how long have you been working on this project for, would you say? It's
A
pretty
little over six
interesting.
months.
Okay. Because before that, you was working at Meta, right?
Yes, I was
I
a
remember
product
you
manager
telling
for
me.
Meta.
Okay. And for how long was you there for?
3.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what
that was
kind of I know like a lot of people will say like, "Oh, I want to do this," or they're kind of waiting for the right moment to go into
hmm
building their own projects. What was it for you that kind of pulled that trigger that made you think, "No, I'm
Mm.
gonna go and do my own thing now?"
Quite interesting. So I've been working with computer software and kind of like new developments all the time. I've always gotten excited about, new hardware that comes out or new technology that comes out that kind of like opens up new opportunities.
Mhm.
And obviously with this whole AI hype, I've just noticed a lot of new companies popping up, a lot of new technologies popping up. I ended up buying a new laptop because my laptop just needed an upgrade. And that new laptop had, some more memory and a faster processor. And then I discovered this whole new ability to kind of run AI locally on your machine. So on your own device, and you don't have to like connect to the internet for it. And a lot of the big tech companies started to get like these scandals or these stories about what is your data being used for, right? Like you use, I don't know, you use all these social media platforms, you use all these AI bots, and you just feed them a lot of information about yourself. And we don't really know what happens with that information. Is it being used for ads? Is it being used for training other models? We just don't know. And I felt a little uncomfortable with all these kind of like new AI tools to upload my personal information into it. But then I still wanted to benefit from the power of it, like helping me organize things, helping me figure things out. So I was like, what if it would be possible to do this without any privacy risks? And suddenly, with all this new technology, I thought it is actually possible, and I don't see anyone else doing it. So this is one of those moments where if you see something that would improve the lives of people and you know how to do it and no one else seems to be doing it, this should be the time to do it, really. It was kind of like just jumping in.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something unique that being able to use the software anywhere without a VPN, no
Mhm.
connection, anywhere that you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I remember in our brief conversation last time you was talking about how you want it to be kind of like a therapist for people. So tell
Exactly,
to
it
me
could
a little
grow
bit
in.
about that.
Yes, it could grow into that. So the whole idea behind it is it's like a personal AI assistant or a personal AI model that you train with the information that is relevant to you. So when you first install the app, it's a pretty dumb AI agent that knows how to kind of understand language, but not much else. But every time you kind of upload something into it, you basically tell it what is important to you, right? Whether it's like,
Mhm.
I don't know, a photo of a wine that you like. Now the AI knows, okay, you like this wine. And it could also be a diary entry. If you journal every day, you could upload your journals into it. And now you know that it's safe because it doesn't go anywhere. It actually just stays on your laptop or on your phone when the phone version comes out. So it's
Mhm.
it's pretty secure. But then once you've trained the AI on all that information, that AI can kind of like help you make sense of it or help you kind of process it. And you could say, okay, a couple of days ago I was talking about this, but now this is happening. How should I kind of make sense of that? Or
Mhm.
I saw this other person talking about this topic and you upload that. How do you compare this person's perspective on it versus my perspective on it? And
Mhm.
slowly but surely, the AI becomes like really optimized to what you need
Yeah,
and what you
to
care
what you
about.
need. Yeah, more
Yeah,
personalized. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. That's another interesting point actually because I use the Chat GPT as like
hmm
my kind of AI, but the problem I find is I do use it for a diary, but sometimes
hmm
it gets lost. It
hmm
doesn't come back with the things that we've been talking about. It's kind of like
hmm
trying to regurgitate certain things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
hang on a minute, we didn't speak about this. Like, what is going on
Mhm.
here? So it doesn't like keep it. It acts like it's keeping up with you and your diary, but like sometimes it goes a little bit off the wall.
And it loses some stuff. Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to get right because obviously ChatGPT is servicing millions and millions of users at the same time. They don't really have a formalized method of giving it information besides what you talk about. So somewhere in the back end of OpenAI servers, whatever you talk about is saved in some sort of mechanism that the AI can use it in the future. Mm, Depending on whether you log in on different devices, depending on how you explained the thing in the first place, it might get confused or forget things. And the way I've built this app is I've really kind of like created a AI optimized database that whenever you put something in there, I kind of like process whatever you say in a specific format, so it could always kind of come back to the AI in the same mechanism.
Yeah, that sounds really impressive and something that's definitely needed for sure,
Hmm.
especially being able to use it anywhere with the amount
Hmm.
of flights that people are on and they want to put down their thoughts and things that have happened. It's very good for that.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about as well. There was something that we did speak about a little bit, which was about when you start your own thing, it's just
Hmm.
you and you are doing everything. How do you manage that kind of like overwhelmment? Like it's just everything's on you kind of thing.
Exactly. And I would have to admit that it's still just a very, very tough thing
Mhm.
because like I'm personally I'm a geek. I just love coding. I just like love playing around with technology. So
Yep.
actually building the app and kind of like improving it day by day, I really enjoy that. And I just kind of determine my own rhythm for that. Like when
Mhm.
I have energy, when I have time, I will work on it. It could be midnight, it could be morning, it could be wherever. When it comes down to kind of like customer support and marketing and like really kind of building excitement for the product, that is just very difficult. I really, really do wish that I had a partner in crime to work on it.
Mhm.
I think one thing that really helped me is not just working from home by myself, but
Yep.
actually putting myself in an environment where other people are also kind of like working on similar things or things that they care about. So
Mhm.
I really enjoy working at co-working spaces.
Yep.
I really enjoy joining meetups and networking events where people are also kind of like either an entrepreneur or a content creator or just doing something um, that kind of makes them a one man or a one woman
Yep.
business,
Yep.
but then could still kind of like bounce ideas off each other and maybe learn from each other and even hire each other.
Mhm.
Sometimes I meet people that their core focus is digital marketing. So instead of trying to do everything myself, maybe we could do a deal where they help market my product and I might
Yep.
help automate or kind of like optimize their technology workflow. And
Yeah,
that way
value
we kind of still work
exchange.
together.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That's quite interesting actually, because I think you probably remember me talking about how many times I'll end up in my own head. Like when you're
Hmm.
working on something that's completely on your own, you're like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right
Hmm.
thing? So in Bangkok now, I've actually started these like little co-working sessions, only like small intimate groups, but specifically for entrepreneurs, creatives, share your ideas and that
Hmm.
that's that's helped me a lot as well, being in the co-working areas.
Hmm. Yes, definitely. I really love working in areas and in geographical locations that kind of attract those people. So Bangkok
Absolutely.
is like a perfect example for that, right? Normally I live in
Mhm.
Brighton in the UK and Brighton is a super nice town or whatever, but it's not that popular or not that common to run your own business that way. So I
Mhm.
end up always having to go to London or, to travel to different places to meet like-minded people. So it really helps when you're in an environment that kind of attracts people like yourself.
Absolutely. Have you found any like co-working spaces in London that you kind of are your go-to spaces? Or
So I have a little hack in London, actually. It's called the Hoxton Hotel. It's not really a co-working space, but it's set up really nicely with Wi-Fi and tea and coffee. A lot of Londoners have discovered it. It's in the middle of Shoreditch, and
Okay, yeah.
so if you just end up going there to have a coffee in the morning or the afternoon, you'll literally be surrounded by 15 to 20 other entrepreneurs or people that work remotely, and you'll just strike up a conversation there. So that place seems to work really well for me.
Okay. What was the name of that place again? Sorry, I'm gonna make a note of it.
I think it's called Hoxton Hotel, but like, let me go to Google Maps. I just know where it is, so I just walk there blindly
Yeah,
nowadays. I
you know
think
the place. It's like autopilot.
exactly. Let's see, Shoreditch High Street. Ooh, the Hoxton, that's what it's called. The Hoxton in
Hoxton.
Shoreditch. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a hotel, but people can just go and co-work if they get a coffee or a
Exactly. Their
tea.
their their hotel lobby is like a very long table, with power plugs, and then they have
Nice.
a built-in kind of coffee shop, and they have a built-in bar. So when it gets around like 4 or 5 p.m., people get a beer, and they just still sit on that kind of like major table. And
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of people just work from there. So it's really nice to meet people and to just kind of like be surrounded by like-minded individuals.
Yeah, definitely. When we was speaking about Bangkok earlier, it reminded me of a
Hmm.
conversation I was having with somebody who is also like trying to start their own business. And it was
Hmm.
basically that Bangkok is a natural filter for that type of person, like the creative
Hmm.
people, the entrepreneurs. Everybody's there intentionally. So the chance of meeting people that you could either work with or collaborate with, it's a lot easier. Like I said, back home in the UK, especially Manchester, doesn't
Hmm.
really exist, or people tend to gatekeep certain things. They're not one for sharing because you know it's like their idea is going to get stolen, and yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and I do think like it's a common thought that people have about ideas, needing to protect ideas. What if someone steals my idea and whatnot? And obviously, I guess it could happen. But a piece of feedback that I received from, I think I did a hackathon a couple of years back. So those are kind of fun. These programs where you arrive on a Friday, and then you come in with an idea and you pitch your idea. Then you have like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to kind of hack something together to prove a prototype of it. And then on Sunday, they do kind of like awards. There's like a judging panel, and they see whichever prototype has the most potential, and then you could win a prize or whatnot. I used to do that stuff a lot as well, to kind of meet people. And one thing that one of the judges told me that really stuck with me is like ideas come a dime a dozen. Even though you may think you have a great idea, he will guarantee you that 50 other people have that same idea. It's usually
Absolutely.
not the idea that kind of like runs
Hmm.
off to be successful, it's the execution. And if you
Absolutely.
have the right people around you that you collaborate with in an open kind of collaborative manner, your execution is going to be the best, and therefore you're the most likely to succeed.
Definitely. And I think now as well, like the power of personal branding has become like a
Hmm.
very forefront thing for a whole load of different businesses to help
Hmm.
you stand out, to help you kind of build a relationship with either the customer or it's just your community, like online.
Hmm.
They're kind of like following your journey,
Hmm.
um, and like the behind the scenes of certain things. I feel like that's, you know, really paying off for a lot of businesses at the moment.
Yeah, I can actually say that prior to doing Clipbeam, so this latest smart memory bank, I had another app which was called Snoovis.
Hmm.
And Snoovis was a Netflix for short film. Basically, it was like
Okay.
a platform that you could watch like short movies on. And I also did a behind the scenes with the filmmakers for each short film that was featured on the app. So you didn't just watch the film, you also got to know the makers behind the film and kind of like build your network with creative professionals that way.
Hmm.
And I remember some of the feedback that I got is when I first launched, I was really optimizing for looking professional and making sure that, the website was slick and my marketing communication was slick and my advertising was slick and everything was basically just copied from Netflix or copied from Amazon Video, or you know what I mean? Like I was
Hmm.
looking at these big
Yeah.
corporate players, how
Yeah.
they're doing it, and then just mimicking that.
Yeah.
But then as I worked on the app for longer and longer, what I started to realize is that what was really resonating with people was the anti-corporate. Oh, this is just a guy that I can get to know. This is so nice.
Mhm.
Now I'm really interested. I'm not
Mhm.
feeling like I'm being sold to or I'm being kind
No.
of like used to maximize profit. This is just one
Mhm.
person who's passionate about something and I
Yeah.
can relate to that. So therefore I want to support that person. So it's actually working in
Mhm.
your advantage sometimes to be less professional or less corporate.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And it's surprising really, isn't it? It's like flipped on its
Hmm.
head. What you think it should be is like the
Hmm.
total opposite. And I think that's why they say like don't compare yourself to other people. Like roll
Hmm.
with what you have and like what your brand stands for, roll with that. Don't
Hmm.
try and please everybody with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you were talking about short films, what kind of short films were you doing there?
So, the way I categorize it, the app is still available, but I haven't updated it in forever. But there's a couple of short films still on there.
Mhm,
The way I categorized them was what is the outcome of watching that short film. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to differentiate myself or distinguish myself from the basic Netflix or Amazon Prime where you have like horror, comedy, whatever, right? So because short films are often experimental and could be a bit weird, I was like, how does this content make me feel after I saw it? So it makes me smile or it makes me tremble or it makes me, think, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
so the categories were kind of set up that way.
okay,
Or one other category was dazzle me. So that was usually about kind of like visuals and cinematography and whatnot.
mhm,
And then the key was really the short film was there. The idea was kind of like if you're waiting for the bus or you're on the train and you have like 5 or 10 minutes to spare, you don't want to gonna get started on a 1 hour episode of a big show, but you might want to see like 10 minutes of something that is interesting.
mhm,
So that kind of the way how it was set up.
okay,
And then for each bit of content, because what I was expecting was that the people that would like it would likely be either actors or filmmakers or people that are genuinely interested in cinematography. And a lot of the people that were submitting the films were film students or like independent filmmakers that might not have a big name yet or kind of like a big network of film professionals that they knew.
mhm,
So what I did is that for each film that was on the platform, there was like an interview or a behind the scenes with the filmmaker so that hopefully other filmmakers would see films that they like from other filmmakers, then reach
okay,
out to each other and then kind
yeah.
of create content together. So every filmmaker also left their Twitter or their Instagram handle or whatever that they had so that it was easy for other filmmakers to also reach out to them and collaborate.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a good way for them to connect as well, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Mm, that's
So yeah,
that's
that
really
was I was
interesting.
really really passionate about that project. The reason why I kind of stopped doing that was even though that it was doing reasonably successful in terms of downloads and usage, but it was impossible to make money on it
Okay.
because people just they already paid for the Netflix or subscription, they already paid for all the other streaming services. Nobody
Mhm.
was waiting to pay for yet another streaming service, and
Mhm.
if you pay, you then expect like Hollywood grade 2 hour movies, three
Yeah,
hour
sets an expectancy.
exactly,
Yep.
and that was just not possible. And so
No.
therefore, it kind of became a passion project. But I just didn't have the time when I joined Meta to
Okay.
to keep that platform going.
Yeah. And in terms of like what you're doing now, how do
Hmm.
you like vision your like business model to be? Would it be like a subscription or like a one-off payment?
Hmm.
What's your ideas with that?
Yeah. So having learned from that previous experience with Snoovies, I am trying to kind of offer multiple solutions for different people.
Mhm.
So if you want to use it on one device, just on your laptop, and that's it. The app is completely free at the moment. You can just download it, use it, and go for it. If, however, you say, you know what, sometimes the stuff that I want to remember, the stuff that I collect, I'm on the go. I might have an iPad, I might have a phone, I might have a laptop, and I want it all to kind of neatly sync with each other.
Mhm.
Now, that's kind of where there's like ongoing costs for me, obviously, because then I would have to build like I have to maintain a backend server where when you do something on your phone, it's kind of safely and securely connected to your laptop or safely and securely connected to your tablet without kind of like anyone being able to read that data. So you have like encryption and a lot of complexity that I'm kind of like wanting to offer. But
Mhm.
for that, I would ask a monthly subscription. People that just want to use it on one device or people that are quite techy can kind of like copy and sync stuff between devices their own way. That's fine.
Mhm.
Then they don't have to pay me at all, and then they can just use it on one device.
Okay. And do they get like full allowance of the system or do they only get a certain amount of like storage, I guess?
Yeah, so because it's all handled on one device,
Mhm.
obviously the storage is just limited to whatever
What they
storage is
have.
available on their one device.
Mhm.
Obviously, if we talk about syncing between devices across devices, but having access to all data on all devices,
Mhm.
I can imagine that maybe on your laptop you have like 500 clips that relate to all sorts of stuff. when you want it on your phone, you don't necessarily want to copy all that information over. You just want to kind of like download the information that you need when you need it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be able to kind of build like a system that will support that while without having to see your data.
Okay.
But that would then require the monthly payment.
Okay. So that's good. You've got like a few different avenues that you can go down there.
Hmm.
Because when I was using, I've also been using another system called Claude, but
Hmm.
after a certain I max out on conversations, and then it will just
Hmm.
say no more, and I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
this is great. This is so great. This is.
I mean, that's their business model, obviously. So again, I might be running the risk that I could struggle with enough revenue to keep it going. But the way I've designed this software is when you download and install my app, you basically download a basic AI model and intelligence to your computer.
Uh-huh.
And so the more you add to it, the smarter it becomes from that information.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's not like sending anything to anywhere to work, right? And
Mhm.
so with Claude, the difference is they've built this super intelligent thing that could do a lot more really than what my model can from the ground up, from the basics. But they run it on a server somewhere in the cloud, and they will charge you every time you ping that server for support, right? And so
Mhm.
that's kind of like a different model.
Yeah.
So you'll get more intelligence with Claude, but you'll have to pay for it. Mine is just
Mhm.
your personal intelligence, but the lucky thing is you only pay for syncing across devices and not for conversations.
There you go. Heard it here first. Yeah, that's really interesting actually. There was a question that I wanted to ask you, and it's about your brand name. How did
Hmm.
you come out? What's like the concept behind the name? How did you come up with it?
Sure. So it's called Clipbeam.
Mhm.
And the idea was okay, let's go back to the basics. The idea was like people collect information that is relevant to them that they want to reuse at some point in the future across their entire day. And all that information is basically stored in different formats, right? Some information could be a web link, and if you click it, it's just a website. But it
Mhm.
could also be a PDF document. It could also be a photo of a bottle of wine. It could be a voice note, right? And so what is it then? Is it an audio? Is it a file? Is it a link? Is it a note? You know? And I thought, you know what? When you think about a paper clip, an old fashioned clipboard, right? Whatever it is, you just clip it on
Yep.
and it makes sense, right? And so the idea of clipping is like no matter what you see, you can always clip it. So it's
Mhm.
something that could be a verb. I want to clip that so that I can remember that. So that's where
Mhm.
clip came from.
Okay.
And then Beam was just kind of like a funny wordplay because you know how it is when you start a company, you go to a GoDaddy or you check like what domains are available, and basically every word that you could come up with is usually taken by some big company or whatever. Clipbeam was free, and I thought, you know what? It's a clipboard that is beaming with intelligence, so we'll
There
make
you
it
go.
Clipbeam.
Yeah. Easy to
Yeah.
remember, quick and short.
Hmm. And so that's where how I ended up with it, and yeah, really happy with it.
Okay. And during your time at Meta, was you kind of
Mhm.
thinking about setting this up? Was it like in the back of your mind to think, yes, I'm going to do this?
So
And
it's
then it was a
really
build
funny
up.
that like during my time when I was working at Meta, I had a Meta phone and I had a Meta laptop.
Hmm.
Because obviously when you do your work, you do it on your work devices. And then you have your personal device for your personal stuff. But sometimes work and personal overlaps, right? I might be at work. I might not have my personal laptop with me, but I get an important PDF emailed, right? Then I would just go to gmail.com on my work laptop and I
Hmm.
would download that PDF because I want to still do something with it during work or whatever, right? And then I wanted to easily kind of like copy um, that document from my work laptop to my personal laptop. So I ended up like emailing myself back and forth all the time from work to personal, from personal to work. And it was just really, really awkward.
Hmm.
So during my time at Meta, I had already kind of created like a basic like mechanism to easily copy things between devices. And I was using that a lot while I was at Meta. So I was always thinking like maybe there's some way how to kind of like um uh turn this copy things between devices into a app at some point. It
Hmm.
was kind of like the thing in the back of my mind, but I never really did anything with it. Then when I got excited about all the AI stuff, I started working on the Clipbeam that you have today on one device, the local intelligence and all that.
Hmm.
But I always remembered I also still have this mechanism to copy stuff between devices in a secure, encrypted way. that I might be able to kind of latch on top of it. So it was kind of like a combination of an idea and some code that I already kind of created for my own personal use that I'm all kind of like cobbling together as a product experience.
Yeah, that's wow. That's a lot. I mean, especially how long was you at Meta for again?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay.
Hmm.
And then how long have you been working on this project?
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And like so far, how are you feeling about it?
I'm super excited about where the project is at the moment.
Yeah.
I just find because of having to do everything by myself, I wish my
Mhm.
velocity was a bit higher. I find myself a
Okay.
bit too slow. So I've been able to kind of like release a beta version for desktop devices for your Mac and Windows PC. That's working reasonably well. I've got some good feedback. The feedback that I got was really helpful. So I'm also kind of adapting it as I go. I launch something, I ask for feedback, and then I make changes and whatnot. So I'm about to ship a new version for Mac OS probably by the end of this week, but I haven't been able to get started on the mobile version yet. And I really believe that the mobile version is going to be the one thing that really kicks off the usability for people, because
Mhm.
I think the vast majority of time when you come across something that you need to remember, you tend to be on the go, or you tend to be with people, or you tend to not have your laptop open.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm I'm quite happy with where I am at the moment. I'm quite happy with the feedback, and I'm quite happy with the performance of the desktop app. What I'm not happy with is that the mobile app is not ready yet, and I haven't been able to build it as fast as I was hoping for.
Okay.
So that is going to be my focus for January, February, and then I hope that I can really kind of like start building towards profitability and revenue.
In terms of how like the app physically looks, have you done like
Mhm.
the graphic or the design for it?
User design I have done,
Yeah.
but in all honesty, like I've always been more of a kind of coder than a
Okay.
designer. So I've tried to kind of like collaborate with some designers, giving me ideas or feedback. But part of the feedback that I had from the first version of the app is like people like it, but they wish that there were some design tweaks that would make it easier to use for them. So what I've been able to
Okay.
do is like collect all that feedback. I started off with a Reddit group where I just asked people questions. Some people were willing to kind of like open DMs with me saying, yeah, I'm using it for this and this purpose, but I wish that I could kind of like sort files this way, or I could have a list or kind of like add them to my own kind of personal, they called it topics. Like I want to structure my clips based on topic and all that stuff. So I
Mhm.
took all that feedback and
Yeah.
I've now redesigned the app, which is going to be launched in a week or so
Okay.
based on that feedback. So doing everything myself, but again, I would love to collaborate more. So if there are any designers that see this stuff that get excited about this idea, I would love to collaborate with fellow designers to kind of like get the design to the best it could be.
Oh, I think my signal just dropped.
Oh dear, I still see you and I still hear you. I
You
don't know if
still
you hear
see
me.
me? 1 second.
Hmm.
On my screen, it's gone laggy. Bear with me. Okay, so with Reddit, I'm not too familiar with it, but it sounds like you're
Hmm.
kind of using it as like a focus group to get opinions
I
and
was
comments. Yeah.
actually, yeah, and I would definitely recommend other people to try it. It really depends on kind of what the product is that you're working on, and whether your target audience, whether the people that you're targeting tend to use Reddit as a platform. What you often see on Reddit is people kind of open up conversations about problems that they have in their daily lives, you know?
Okay.
Um, there were groups on Reddit that were like, we don't trust big tech with our data, you know, privacy centric groups, or kind of like there was one called D Google where it's like, I don't want to trust Google with all my
Mhm.
information, da da da. Da. And
Yeah.
so when you read those conversations, you kind of already kind of identify, this user would probably like an app similar to the one that
Mhm.
I'm using, right? And then you just
Yeah.
comment on that, like, I see what you're saying and I agree. I also don't trust Chat GPT with all my information, so therefore I build this app that does this, 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 this. If you're interested, please download it, you know, follow me and let me know what you think. So
Yeah.
that helped a lot. And it also kind of like helps to just sometimes open your own Reddit topic where you're like, I'm working on this app at the moment. This is what it does, but I'm not sure whether people really care about this and this and this. Would you like such an app? Is this interesting to you? And then people would
Yeah.
just literally comment and kind of like
They
give you
comment
feedback
back.
for free, you know?
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good idea actually. I feel like for me,
Hmm.
like a lot of the time I would turn to social media or just people that are around me, but I think that's really good to get like a broader
Hmm.
response from people, especially based
And
on what they want and what they're looking for.
what they're looking for. And the funny thing about Reddit is like it does attract a certain audience that could sometimes be quite harsh. But you
Mhm.
know what? I really appreciated harshness sometimes because obviously you got to always remember that some people will love it, some people will hate it. No matter what you do, there's always going to be negativity and positivity.
Yep.
But what I love about Reddit is some people will kind of like shred you to pieces if your idea
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense, but at least you
Yeah.
know. But on the other
Exactly.
hand, like if you get them excited, if you get like a big base of Reddit users excited about your product, you've won.
Yeah,
So I kind
yeah.
of use it as like, the bar that I'm trying to reach.
Yeah. Yeah. You set that bar for them.
Yeah.
It's quite funny with talking about different responses. I was trying to train my chat GPT. Sometimes it
Hmm.
comes across a little bit flowery or like
Hmm.
softy. I'm like, no, just give it to me straight. Like I just
Exactly.
need the brunt end of what I'm saying to you. Like give me that
Hmm.
response. But yeah, so I might look at Reddit myself at some point.
Yes. No, it's a very interesting platform.
Yeah, yeah, it does sound interesting. I'm gonna make a little note of Reddit actually.
The one thing I found difficult with Reddit, though, that is a bit kind of confusing sometimes, is when you open your own Reddits, they can obviously sometimes ban your Reddit. So they just say like this topic is now closed because it went against terms and conditions or whatnot. But
Okay.
sometimes they don't tell you why. So I
Mhm.
initially had like a nice open conversation about kind of beta feedback for my app. As far as I know, I didn't do anything against terms and conditions. But
Mhm.
one day I just woke up and it was like, this Reddit is no longer available. And then when I reached out to the Reddit moderators, the community members, they were not able to tell me why, and I had to just open a new one. So that's a bit confusing sometimes. So that's something I
Okay.
need to consider. Yeah,
Okay. So it can just be a little hit and miss, I guess, dependent
exactly,
on what you're talking about.
exactly.
And is there any point in like the last 6 months where you kind of ended up overthinking things, or you were in your own head? If you was, how do you feel like you got out of that space?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think so. When I first came up with the idea, I did some competitive research
Mhm.
and I really didn't find any company or anyone really doing anything that was focused on privacy and offline AI services. So I was like, yes, I found a gap in the market and this is going to be super successful and whatnot. So I spent like 3, 4 months coding the whole thing, bringing it all together, getting the first beta out. And then obviously, as I started talking on Reddit, about my beta and about how it was working, suddenly people were responding, "Oh yes, it's kind of similar to this app that I'm using." And then I opened that app, I was like, "Oh, actually, that app does sort of something similar. It's not quite the same, but
Uh-huh.
there is an overlap that I didn't
Some
discover in my initial
similarity.
kind of like competitive research, right?"
Mhm.
And then you start to like one app that I found that was doing something sort of similar was like a Silicon Valley funded startup. It was like founded by three PhD graduates from Stanford University, and they had already kind of like raised Series B funding for a couple of million, and they were doing something related to like local AI. I was like, oh dear, three PhDs with like 15 million. What am I gonna do for myself, right?
We all start
And that's
somewhere.
exactly. And so that's where the doubts start creeping in, right? And so what
Yeah.
was really helpful for me at those moments is really just keeping the conversation going, talking to friends, reading advice and recommendations from either VC funds or founders, entrepreneurs, where you kind of discover that a lot of people experience in this. Not like no,
Yes.
the advice that I just gave before, right? Ideas come a dime a dozen. There will always be at least 10 people somewhere else that have the same idea that might even be working on the same idea. It's just
Yeah.
execution.
Yeah.
And there were like examples of like if you figure even a product like Facebook obviously became ubiquitous and the biggest social media network on the planet when it launched, but it launched in 2004. And at that time, there was already MySpace. Microsoft had already was doing MSN at the moment, which was like a massive,
Mhm.
massive platform. And yet, still, Facebook became this dominant thing because they were focusing on a different target audience. They just did it
Yeah.
in a different way, and
Yeah.
they also started out as just a developer in his room, kind of like collaborating with other people. So
Yeah.
just because there is a well-funded big corporate doing something similar, that doesn't mean that they're going to be better than you. You might actually have an advantage because you are not funded, because you can move faster, because
Mhm.
you know what I mean? You work
You're not
differently,
tired
you
as
work more
much.
scrappy. It
Yeah.
could actually work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so those kind of conversations really help me kind of stay positive. And the way to do that is to just always be open to not kind of like when people ask me, how's your app going? Just like you just asked me, how's your app going? I'm like, it's going well, but I wish it was going faster and I wish I had design support. And I think when you're honest about those things, support will actually come. You know, the things that you're looking for will actually come your way. Whereas if you always kind of like be guarded, like, yeah, it's fantastic and there's nothing more that I can say, you're actually just doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. And as well, when you are open, it kind of opens up people to ask questions or prompt things
Hmm.
that you might not have thought about that you ended up thinking
Exactly.
about. I think it's quite powerful.
Hmm.
Um, but just staying open. I think the other thing that I think you kind of mentioned it before, but it's basically these big, very successful companies
Hmm.
that have really made it where they actually started and they never give up no matter what they
Hmm.
did from the
Hmm.
bedroom all the way through. It's a process and you have to enjoy the process of going where
Exactly.
you want to be.
And also be willing to pivot though. Like
Yeah.
the key to success is also like when you start with something and you start to get enough signal that it might not be exactly what people want. It doesn't mean that your idea was completely shit or you're not going to succeed. It means that if you are able to adapt your idea to kind of like fit a problem space better or to kind of like tweak it in a different way, you might discover something completely different that you didn't expect with that kind of takes off like wildfire, right? You just don't know.
Yeah, you never know. And I think as well it kind of highlights the power of conversations and talking to different
Hmm.
people because you don't know like what could come up or what opportunities could be presented to you, like collaborations, all that kind of stuff if you're open. Um, I think it's really powerful and I think a lot of people think like, really I just need to put myself out there and speak to different people. Like,
Hmm.
does that really get me where I want to be? And if you stay
Hmm.
open minded, like anything can happen and come about.
Definitely. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially when it's something new. You're trying to build something, you have to keep your energy up. You have to keep the
Hmm.
momentum up and stay like inspired.
Definitely. And I had also moments where, so a couple of weeks, like when I first kind of discovered these big competitors, there was just, some moments where you're like, oh, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe I should just do something different that these big competitors aren't doing.
Hmm.
And then because I had those conversations and those topics open on Reddit, I would sometimes just wake up to a random stranger that I never even knew who had like commented on one of the posts that I made. Is like, oh my God, this app really made a difference to my life because I did this specific random exotic thing that I didn't even figure that my app would be used for. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, that is so interesting. And that big corporate app that I saw wouldn't even work for that.
No.
So there is something. So
Yeah.
just indeed just keeping the conversation open and allowing people to give you continuous feedback helps you sometimes kind of reiterate that what you're doing is unique in your own way and will have its value in its own way.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the same for you, like, you want to help people, that's probably one of
Hmm.
the biggest reasons that you're doing what you're doing, you wanna provide a
Hmm.
value,
Exactly.
um, and I think that's pretty powerful and pretty special when you have messages like that or the work that you've
Hmm.
been putting in, it's like, "Okay, no, this is worth it, I need to keep going."
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think there was another thing that I wanted to just kind of bring up, which was
Hmm.
basically when we were sat down that evening in Clutch, we was talking about, you know, when it is just you doing everything, being able to hear other people, that you can relate to those other people. That's
Hmm.
it's you get to a point and you're like, damn, I needed to hear what you had to say there.
Hmm.
It's yeah, I think that's quite like, prominent and it can just change a lot of things. Like, for me, some of the things that you said to me at Clutch, certain things I didn't think about from my perspective, and it was a very energizing conversation.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate that. And I do believe like that is the case. Sometimes, like I said, I sometimes feel that I'm not working fast enough, right? I wish the mobile app was already done. I wish I'd done this, that, and the other faster.
Yeah,
But sometimes just taking a break and having a coffee or a tea and having a conversation with someone that involves the thing that you're working on could help unlock so much more productivity than if you just stay focused, 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 and don't talk to anyone. You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
always try and find that kind of balance between being productive and locking myself into a basement and coding, compared to just like being out there. And that's like how I met you guys. And like I always try to make sure that for a couple of hours a week, I am surrounded by other people, like-minded people. And it could be in a co-working space, it could be a networking event, but it could also just be having drinks, or it could just,
Yeah,
be
out and
a
about.
lunch or a
Mm,
shared dinner. Just
yeah,
keep meeting new people and keep having
you meet new
conversations. And that's where
people.
the true magic comes.
Absolutely. And I think as well, when you're in that zone of being like, no, I need to lock in, I need to get all
Hmm.
these things done, and it can become like quite unhealthy because you're
Hmm.
thinking to yourself, like, I'm staring at my screen, I'm not being productive, but I can't come away with it because I've got so much
Hmm.
to do. But then when you step away, and for me, it's get outside, get some fresh air, just take
Exactly.
a second and then come back to it rather than just driving myself insane, staring at a laptop, thinking, this isn't going anywhere.
100%. Like with software development, like it's proven itself to me so many times. Like I had a moment where I just had this bug. You know, sometimes when you code and you didn't use the app and then you see this weird kind of error message pop up and you're like, why is this happening? This doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
And I've had one night where I think I discovered this bug at like 11 p.m. And then I just like, what is this problem? Like, couldn't go to bed because this bug was bugging me, and so I was coding until 4 a.m. Literally from 11 to 4 a.m. and I couldn't get this bug out. Went to bed. Next morning, I didn't have the motivation. I was like, I don't know what this bug is going to be. I'll figure it out at some point. Had breakfast, went outside for a walk, and I kid you not, I was walking outside for like 10 minutes. I was looking at the sea or whatever, and I was like, that's it. I know what's wrong now. Literally went back home. Within 10 minutes, the bug was gone. It's sometimes so easy to just kind of like stay stuck in it, but you will
Yeah.
think differently. You will come up with new ideas if you just
Yeah.
step away from the
Step
laptop
away from
and
the
allow
laptop.
yourself to do so. Yeah,
Yeah. And you also like you end up losing so much time just by doing that, just by thinking I need to
exactly.
sit here and figure the problem out. Like
Yeah.
psychologically you're thinking, no, I need to get this sorted. But
Hmm.
meanwhile, like nothing's gonna get done. And
You're
like you
not being
say,
productive at all. Yeah.
you're being like the opposite of productive right now. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, it's I think the other thing for me that's helped is like just speaking. A lot of the time I would try and work out things in my own mind,
Hmm.
but I won't speak it out loud. So like maybe I'll end up overcomplicating a situation or a part of the project. But when I talk to somebody about that problem, it all kind of clicks. It all starts to connect and I'm thinking, why have I just made a whole big deal out of this?
Hmm. And you
It's
start to figure it out as you
And
go,
you
right? As you speak
yeah,
about it
yeah,
more.
yeah,
Totally.
yeah, and you get a lot more clarity by doing that, so
Hmm.
that's kind of something that I'm trying to do more and more. It's like, not just say, "Oh, no, like, everything's fine with, like, what I'm doing or my projects." I kind of just go into a little bit more about what I've been doing that day and
Hmm.
things that have struggled with because you don't know what somebody else might be able to help
Hmm.
with that. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Power of people,
Yeah.
energy.
100%, 100%, fully agree.
It's
And it's
so
just
true.
inspiring. Like sometimes it's not even what you're saying or what you're explaining, it's just what people are telling you about
Yep,
their journey and their dreams and their ideas.
yeah,
I was also super inspired by you that night about how you decide to kind of like go your own path and like doing all these amazing things while you're traveling, but you're still noticing like a gap in the market. You know what I mean? Hey,
yeah.
actually what I'm doing, I'm enjoying a lot, but some of this stuff could be done better and I can do
Mhm.
it. And like that's so inspiring to hear and to see.
Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. I think one of the things that I've realized probably the last few weeks is how
Hmm.
much I enjoy like curating experiences and bringing people together. Like that's the thing that makes me tick. When
Hmm.
I'm able to introduce somebody to other people that are
Hmm.
like-minded that potentially might be able to help, or just somebody to talk to that's on their wavelength,
Hmm.
yeah, it's very special.
Hmm.
So it's just another reason why I was like, okay, let's do podcasting, but in a conversational tone. So a lot of
Hmm.
people back home say to me, like, really, like this person does that, or like, how do you find these people that are doing all these
Hmm.
interesting things? Like, I've been wanting to set up this business for 4 or 5 years now. I don't have the time, and
Hmm.
it's like, okay, let's take it back. Let's strip it back to people's, you know, their journey and how they did
Mhm,
end up doing what they're doing. And like for you, yours is very, very inspiring. Like so many people, especially in the corporate world, you get
mhm,
comfortable. You just think, I'm set now. You always in the back of your mind, you might think, I'm waiting for the right time to do this.
mhm.
And then a lot of people never actually do.
Never actually do,
So,
right? I think
yeah.
also one thing that helps is to remember it's okay to fail. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather fail and have tried than have never tried before. And I think if I look around me, the people that work in corporate and are successful in corporate, they come from all different areas. And a lot of them have tried startups before, a lot of them failed. It doesn't matter. Like, if you were able to secure a secure and kind of like stable job right now, you'll likely be able to secure a secure and stable job in the future. So you can also allow yourself that adventure for a couple of months and see where it takes you,
Yeah,
and then you just apply for another stable job again. Like
absolutely.
don't be afraid to fail.
That just brings me on to a nice
Hmm.
question that I had to ask you. For
Hmm.
anybody that will be listening to this, what would you say to them that are thinking to go and start that new project or start that business and are kind of like
Hmm.
waiting for the right time? What would you say to them?
I think the right time is always now. So
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you have to quit tomorrow as soon as you have a good idea, but at least kind of like give yourself set aside some time each week to groom that idea further. So when this kind of like light bulb moment happens and you feel like, okay, well, there's a lot of stuff that I have to work out and I'm not sure if I can make this happen. And I still have to, worry about the bills and whatnot. Don't necessarily quit your job, but say, you know what, every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m., I'm just going to schedule and reserve for this project, for this idea. I'm going to research more. I'm going to see you can help me. I'm going to see what the obstacles are. I'm going to see if there's a demand. Do that. You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to do anything. Just do that.
Yep.
Now with AI and social media, there's a lot that you can do without quitting your job. You can put a prototype together with some of these kind of like AI no coding tools. You could just kind of like create like a fake landing page or a fake kind of like a newsletter or like register your interest, you know what I mean, for some
Yep.
idea that you have.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
your idea is like to throw some sort of like amazing event, it's not even a tech idea, but you're like, I want to do an amazing event that brings these and these people together. You can literally be put together like a interest form is like, I'm working on this secret event. No details are there yet, but this and this
Mhm.
will happen. If you're interested, leave your email.
Let me know.
If
Yeah.
you've Exactly. If you end up with a mailing list of 10,000 people, you validated that this idea would probably work. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then you will feel more comfortable to just say, you know what? I am going to quit this job, or I am going to put some money into this, or I am going to do whatever you need to do to make that work. So I think that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, I really like that. It kind of reminds me of something that I follow myself, which is like follow the breadcrumbs. When you
Hmm.
see something that you are interested in, but you're like, "Yeah, I've got this great job, like that's great," but you follow that breadcrumb. So where it's
Hmm.
you talk about it to other people, like you say, you kind of register the interest. Maybe you put it on social media. It's just one step that goes
One step
towards
at a time.
just one step
Exactly.
at a time. Yeah.
Exactly, and allow it to kind of like inspire you more. And if you find that every time you give it that little snippet of attention, that snippet grows and it starts to snowball, before you know it, you won't even be able to stop yourself from just going for it
Yeah.
because everything in the universe is just telling you that you got
Telling
to do
you
it.
to go, yeah,
Yeah.
and I always
Yeah.
say as well, like, everything kind of happens for a reason. If you weren't meant to either, like, test out that idea or go for that like, start that business, you wouldn't have been presented into certain things, whether it's people that you've met
Hmm.
or an experience that you've had or thoughts that you're thinking that you just can't get out of your head. There's a reason why you can't get those thoughts out of your head.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And some of them, like I follow a lot of investors on
Mhm.
LinkedIn who kind of like explaining the type of companies that they invest in or the kind of companies that they succeed. And what they often say about founders and entrepreneurs is they are relentless. They just can't let it go. Even if like when the obstacles hit and it looks like it's difficult and look like it's not going to work, somehow something in them just doesn't allow them to give up. They just try another way, or they just
Yep.
come up with something else to just keep going. And that is usually the key factor to success.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's a great way to put it actually.
Yeah.
I think that probably wraps up
Hmm.
our conversation.
Okay.
But that was a really good chat. I
Hmm.
really enjoyed that, and thank you for coming on and,
Thank
you
you for
know, telling
inviting
me
me.
about your experience. I feel energized now just,
Hmm.
talking and being back in conversation. Because I don't know, how long have you, been back in the UK now?
When did I arrive? I arrived 15th of November or something. So 2, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. I think 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
Time
No, it must be
flies.
3 weeks. Must be 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, time flies
Time flies. Time
for
flies.
sure.
Yeah. And I'm sad. Like it's only been 3 weeks, but the weather is definitely a reason to be missing Bangkok and the lifestyle there. It's so
Yeah,
cold here.
I I can only imagine. At least you've
Hmm.
got all, like, the nice, you know, the Christmas markets and all
That is
those
true. And I got to see my
things, the
friends again for
Wonderland.
a
You got to
while.
see your
I
friends
got to see my
again.
dad. My mom is going to come
Yeah,
over in a bit. So that's quite nice.
yeah, that'll be nice.
Hmm.
But yeah, let's definitely stay in contact, and
Hmm.
thank you
Sounds good.
again. Like, it's been a
Awesome.
really, really good chat.
Sounds good. Talk to you
Okie
soon.
dokie. Let me,
All
stop
right.
this recording. Bear with.